Top 13 mistakes beginners make that you're probably making in Mighty Doom and how to fix them. First off, not having enough patience. This game is a marathon, not a sprint. And I say that as someone who has basically maxed out level 80 epic gear, because it depends on each person what their goal in the long term is. One person might want to get to the next chapter, or you might say, well, what can I do to prepare for the next update? 2 updates. What kind of guides can I make in the future? You need to play the game for the long term, not the short. Don't look 1 or 2 days ahead. Look weeks and months and plan out where you want to be and what you want to do. Patience is a virtue, and this game is the long haul, not the short sprint. Number 2, not dismantling gears. So let's say that I have this awesome combat shotgun I want to use. Level 1, it's like, I don't want to have to farm up all these resources again to get the max. Well, all you have to do is take your existing weapon and unequip it. So we'll take our shotgun and put it in its place. And then we will go to our heavy cannon to the top right corner, the recycle. We get all of our supplies back when we dismantle it. Just like that. So we can play with builds freely and put our shotgun up just like we had no extra farming to do. This way you don't have to farm extra, you can use all the materials you already have. Everything that you're not using needs to be one down here. All of it should be in your active gear, totally. Number 3, not spec'ing properly. So what you'll find when you run into it, we'll look at this example here. This person has some things that they could change around in their inventory, but they may not realize it. So for example, let's say that you have too much in an common item when you could be having an uncommon that you put more energy and resources into. You don't know what to put it into, so you do the best. However, there often are more optimal ways to do it. So once you learn, hey, I need to focus on my primary, my secondary, to focus on my best boots, my best chest plate. That goes a long way in helping you out to get the best for your money's worth. I actually do have an upgrade guide that will teach you just exactly what you need to know that you need to check out in the corner here. Number 4, comparing yourself to other players. See, different people are on a different journey with their progress. They may have different amounts of time to play. They may pay different amounts to get some extra crates here to get some bonus loot to help themselves along, which is fine. They have different luck. There's just so many factors that go into making 2 players different, even if they have the same type of play and amount of time played. Simply what you draw from crates matters so much. There's an old saying, comparison is the thief of joy. When you look at other people and you say, I wish I had that, I really want to have that. Well, there's 5 other people out there saying, man, I wish I was like that guy. Why is he upset with what he has? Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying to be apathetic and not try to grow and not say, oh, I don't want to make any process. Absolutely push yourself and grow to be the best player you can be, but focus on the now. And this is something I struggle with too. Focus on what you have and how you can improve upon it rather than looking at someone else and getting jealous or upset. Look at them and say, that's what's possible. That's what I can strive and aspire to be. Don't say, well, they're up there and I'm down here. Ask them how they got there so you can get there too. What they're doing now may not be what it took to get there. And I'll tell you what, come in our Discord, ask any of our people questions. Everybody be glad to help you out with your build and advice. Look to where you can go and not just where you are now. Number 5, spending crystals on coins. Let me take down and do a little bit of math here. So let's say you're in a jam and you need some coins, right? Well, you get your free ones daily, or I can buy 13.2k for 160 crystals, or almost 30,000 for 350. Quick and easy, right? Well, honestly, I can do that crate in about 3 raids. Takes me about 7, 8, 9 minutes, probably about a half an hour for 350 crystals worth of silver. You know what else that can buy? I can buy a special crate and then some. I can have so much more difficult to get items if I just save my crystals for the right things to use, which are the crates here, rather than saying, oh man, I really need this coin right now. I can go get it from raids. If I just have patience as a virtue, point number 1, then you'll say, okay, I gotta wait. I'm not going to cave in and use these crystals when I don't really want to. I'm going to feel guilty for doing it. I need to save it for the crates where it really matters. Coins are not the play. Crates are the play. Next up, replaying old levels. Say you are on this chapter. Say you're on chapter 3, Exultia, and you're like, man, I'm just beating my head against the wall over and over. I get to stage 9, 10, 8, and I just can't get through. Well, back it up to number 2, Earth Part 2, and play the heck out of that. You see this a lot with Necrovol. People are pushing and pushing against this map. Maybe it's Doom Hunter Base 2 that they're pushing at, when they really, if they're on Necrovol, need to step back to Exultia 2, grind that out, get some better gear, work on your dodging and your combat, because a lot of the times you have the gear to do it, you just need the dodging, the combat awareness, movement, positioning, the skill sets in the combat flow to be able to get past that arena. You can beat this final level with only uncommon gear and maybe an epic. I have seen it done. It is possible. I recommend having at least a rare weapon. It is tricky, but if you focus on learning not just your gear and bringing it up, but bringing your skills up too, that goes such a long way. And of course, I have to recommend events are great because they're shorter, they give great loot, and they're just all around freebie stuff right there. Next up, not using the right gear. So I may be a little controversial here, but I had this epic ballista at one point, right? And I didn't want to use it. I also had this rare super shotgun, and I didn't want to use it. I used an uncommon Gauss cannon right here because that's what I felt worked well with my build. That's what I was comfortable with. Maybe I was wrong, maybe I was right, but knowing what guns to use when and where, what you're comfortable with, which ones are the meta, which you like and dislike, and understanding why to use it and when. That way you don't go into battle with, say, oh, I have a rare crucible, but I also have an uncommon unmaker. Well, which one's better to use? The Crucible is a lesser tier than the Unmaker, so the power of that Unmaker kind of shines above that Crucible, even though it's a lesser tier. Okay, if you're stuck with a heavy cannon and a chain gun, both of those are pretty fairly matched and top tier meta guns right now, so you're really good with either, using the highest rarity that you can in that case. So it really depends on understanding the weapon, the situation, what you like, what you dislike. For another example, I'm using an epic rocket launcher right here because it's better than my rare Gauss, but when I get my epic Gauss, I'm switching this rocket launcher out. It has its perks, sure, but I like the Gauss and I really like it, even though the rocket launcher is pretty fun too. Understanding your gear as far as your equipment, like this UAC gear, I know that I have 5 seconds after firing a secondary weapon to get a bunch of damage in, so I rush in, I get that damage, and I have demonic armor here, which is fine. I'd rather have UAC because it's the 5 seconds of more resistance. So you go in, use that UAC armor, you knock everybody out, maybe you pull back, you do some more damage, you make the best use of that 5 seconds. A beginning player may not know to do that and may not understand how they play off of their weapons and their armor. Shotgun, super shotgun combo, you get in close. With the heavy cannon Gauss, you can stand to be further away, but if you can get in close with spread shot from the heavy cannon, that upgrade, the ability, then yeah, you're going to be pretty much like a shotgun, especially with double spread shot, bounce, side shot. It's understanding what you have, how it works, and why to use it. That is why just simply putting a bunch of money into crates, getting a bunch of great gear, will not carry you through fully. Yes, you'll be able to push further than somebody that does not have that gear, but if you don't know how to use it, you will not live up to your full potential. I come from a powerlifting background, and it's just like people that are using enhancers. They still have to put in the work, and they still have to learn how everything goes. They can't just take it and expect to be a world-class performer, although nobody is denying that they definitely do help. Next up, not learning boss patterns. Each boss has a dance, a combat flow. Learn how they shoot, learn where you can stand in the arena. Do you need to go slowly strafing or do you need to go quickly? A lot of bosses, for example, the blaster soldier will blast little shots at a time. You don't need to go left and right like crazy. You just slowly strafe over one by one and you will eventually dodge his projectiles. The mecha zombie misses a lot of those. You just have to understand how they shoot, why they shoot, how you can gently move over and they're going to miss some, or they're just going to slowly follow you and you're going to wear out their 9 shots or however much it is. This is why you learn the bosses, their attack patterns, same thing with the enemies every day, and that way you can understand how to counter them to the best of your ability. Next up is not losing your cool and caving to pressure. When you get low health and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna die, help, then you're like, you start to play worse. You get sweaty palms and fingers and they don't move around as well as they should. You are in a horrible situation and your nerves are just making it worse. I've said it in videos before, the strongest demons are not against our fingers and in our game, but in our head. So if you can learn to keep a cool head, I have seen this work out so much. Whenever I've tried to develop a cooler head, I've been able to say, all right, this is fine, just like that meme. Everything is good, I know what to do, I've trained, I've practiced for this. This is what I play this game for, and I know how to handle this situation. All these hours I put in, now I can put that experience to the test. This is what I know to do. Keeping that cool head will save you so much more. Not selecting good abilities in battle, so maybe you don't know which ones to pick. Maybe you go and you neglect spread shot in place of another one. Say for example, twin shot. Well, understanding what these shots do and why they matter goes such a long way, because if you don't have the best abilities, you're not playing to your best advantage. And as a new player, you want all those advantages in your favor, because you know the enemies sure are not going to cut you a break and not use their best advantages. So use what they call an unfair advantage, that good thing that you are. Maybe you're really good at at dodging. Maybe you are really good at this and that, and understand which skills to pick to facilitate your progress and growth in that regard. So for example, 2 spread shot, 2 side shot, bounce is a super good combo, sends things around the arena for the heavy cannon, and it really shows you that you can make the best use of those. Maybe you leave off micro missiles or explosive damage. Sure, they're nice. If you can pick them, but they're not the S tier meta stuff that will help you the most. Next up is not maneuvering in battle. So this is more than just a run around and shoot thing. There is some depth to it. So maybe you have some enemies on the left hand side and you see them and they're weaker. They're fodder type enemies. And you have the heavier enemies on the right and they're all pressing down to your starting position where you're spawning. There's a lot of obstacles around. You don't have good mobility in this situation to dodge all the shots. Imps are firing down, putting the area of denial effect under you to where they have the fire or ice under you and you are forced to move. So you look up the left side of the arena and say, okay, there's a lane that I can take. I can blast through these zombies. I know that my strength and power of my Slayer is able to push past this without taking much damage. That opens up that left-hand lane that I can run up and open up that extra avenue of the enemies, and I can flank them from the other side. I have more mobility. I have more area that I can go and take in. Rather than being stuck in this one little tiny cone, I now have this extra zone that I can fight, meaning that they have to defend me either from down here or up here. And I have the upper hand in this position, whereas up here, if they are coming down, suffocating me, I am screwed. Understanding and knowing where to look for those lanes of attack and how to position yourself away from traps on the battlefield, hazards, understanding how the enemies shoot, that goes such a long way in understanding this game. Not being part of a community. You look and you see what you can learn by yourself with this game and the hours and the studying that you put in. And then you get 10 other people that are like-minded that really want to learn about this game just like you do. And look at the progress you'll make. The big old YouTuber that everybody says I look like, Mr. Beast, says that he had gotten with his friends and tried to learn YouTube so much. You can apply this to the game. Think about how much time you can save if you can go to somebody that's been where you are, that's pushed and has the same goals and mindset and aspirations like you do, and they say, hey man, I tried this, I studied it, I did the numbers, this doesn't work, this does. You save yourself so much time, struggle, and energy because they have been there and they can help you and you can help them. You take this fence that you have to climb to get to the top of where you want to be, and you just chop away part of it, and someone helps you up a little higher. You need to be parts of the community, and it just makes the game more fun that way, which is absolutely why you should join our Discord, because we give out free tips and build advice. I'm active in there every day. I've learned a lot from people in there. They are super smart experts, and you should be a part of that too. I'll put a link in the description. Next up, relying on raids and not events. So you look here and people say, oh man, I have to do a 40-person, 40-stage raid. I don't have the time to do that. I gotta get this much loot. Well, look at this. Events, 3 per day during this cycle of this season here. And you can get really good loot from them. Really nice coins. And they're shorter. They're 20 stages. And they're often, sometimes not easier. The Zombunny Horde is actually a lot easier than some of these harder maps are out here. And if you just look at all of your options, I've done a whole video on this as well. You do your events. You come over here. You do all of your free things here. You get your calendar, your Vega mining. There are so many resources and things that you can use to get crates for free daily, but you have to utilize those resources. And another good resource is this channel. I post guides and everything for you to try to learn from and take forth and go forward. And I want to learn too myself, so if you're teaching me in the comments, I will soak it up. If you're teaching me in Discord, I will learn too. The moment you quit learning is the moment you start dying, so never think that you're better and above someone else because you have this level of knowledge, because there's always somebody out there that you can learn from and look to in different aspects and areas of life that have knowledge that you do not and that would love to teach you. And I am seriously going in life lesson dad mode here, but that's okay because it applies to the game. This video right here, click it. It will tell you what upgrade order you need to do to be fully optimized for this game, and then come to the Discord, get your free tips, build advice, guides, all the help. I'm Austin. Thank you for watching.